Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Creatively See Healing. So, today our topic is I'm Shama, by the way, sorry. Our topic is you say you want discernment, but can you handle the truth? Um, so, you keep asking God for discernment. But discernment isn't just about seeing others clearly, it's about seeing yourself honestly. And most people aren't ready for that. Discernment will challenge your perspective. That much I can say. Your reactions, your patterns, and if you only see it to judge others, you're missing the point. Um, so, one thing I did learn is throughout my journey um, with, I'm a dreamer, so I dream a lot. Over the years, I started to learn how to interpret and things like that. So, like, one of the things I learned is um, God's going to do the work in you first. That was something that I learned early in the journey. He's going to do the work in you, then through you. In you, then through you. Majority of the dreams that you have are going to be about you before it's about someone else. And I've even had dreams where it seems like it's about someone else, but really the characteristics of the person is the lenses that the dream calls for me to look through. Now, that's a lot. But again, this is why discernment is even important for interpretation and dreams and stuff like that. So we're going to go through that because I got an example for that too. So, my first point, before God shows you anything about someone else, He will start revealing what's in you. All right, so now this one is pretty cool because there's different types of, okay, so I'm a person who discerns a lot. I don't like to disclose that too much because it freaks people out sometimes, especially in church environments. But I discern a lot, and it can cause a little bit of trouble sometimes when I discern certain things that most people are inclined to ignoring. And so one of the examples I had is there was a particular girl with a church environment that I went to, and that I was in, and it's like one of those environments where they're really open. It's very, you can call it Pentecostal if you want to relate to it. So it's one of those type of free type of environments. Now I grew up Baptist, so I like to be free, but I still like structure, and so I was always like a little careful where I like freedom, but I don't like feeling like I have no structure and no rules to my life. So I like a balance. So in this particular environment, there was just a girl that that started to. It's like she started to take me back to like elementary school where I was bullied. So like she kind of started to do things that would really trigger the memory of being bullied a lot. But I was so accustomed to disassociating that I would like excuse it away and then put it in a box and lock it away. So she kept having moments where she would like blow up at me in front of everybody and no one would do anything. And then everyone would expect me to react, but then when I don't react, everything becomes about the fact that I didn't react and not her having any type of accountability. But again, I wasn't offended. I just figured I knew and I discerned something was really off and I didn't know why. Then at some point she started to remind me of my sister, my older sister. So like I just kind of started to have this grace for her that I just really didn't understand. But I knew it was because that was when I knew God was doing something in me to then do it through me for someone else. Now I'm not thinking it's her because she don't like me, and I'm not really. I'm I'm like, my gifts are my gifts. I ain't trying to give it to no hater. But anyways, there was one particular moment where she like absolutely blew up at me to a point that she was about to fight me, and I didn't really react because in my mind I'm like, yo, this is definitely a demon. I don't know what it is, but it's something that I must have um, defeated and maybe still got to close some doors on. It was my thought. So I was more like curious than I was like making it about her reaction. Then the pastor's wife saw it and she immediately reported it to her husband. And then her husband made it a point to meet up with me, and it took a while. And then it was the pastor of the house of worship and the pastor was both there. And they sat down, and I remember this was the same day my dad passed, but he hadn't passed yet. And so we were in this meeting, and it started off with her explaining every single event, and I still didn't understand like what the beef was, because I had no beef with her. So I'm not gonna, this is a long story, so I'm gonna shorten it just a bit. But ultimately, like, when we sat there and we explained everything, I told them I don't really have nothing against her. I just don't understand what her beef was, because I feel like she's been pinpointing me. And this is like maybe 4 or 5 different occasions where she just came at me for what seems like absolutely no reason. And so finally, the pastor said something that stood out to me. He was like, we just all a bunch of broken people that just trying to do life together. And immediately that made me relax. But it also made me realize, there is something to this. And then immediately she starts to admit that she had been through some things, that she had been going through like suicide, and she had gotten to a point where she took the actual pills and was getting ready to kill herself. And then God literally supernaturally pumped her stomach, and she ended up surviving. And throughout that time of her struggling with suicide, that's when she was reacting towards me. And I was like, oh my God, it makes sense. And that's why I started looking at her as my older sister for some reason. And then I remember at the end of that meeting, me and her hugged, and she cried in my arms, and I cried too, because I was feeling delivered and all that, because I feel like God was healing me from going through a situation of being bullied young, but not really understanding what's behind it. Instead, you're just kind of letting spirits be projected at you because of what you can discern, but like never actually dealing with it. And then this was me dealing with it, and the outcome was literally witnessing somebody delivered in front of my pastors, who basically didn't really do anything in this situation. They were just there to, I guess, cover it, you can say. But it was so cool. It was like one of the best experiences ever, and it taught me a lot. Like, one thing I will say is discernment isn't comfortable, it's corrective. It's here to correct you. If you're not comfortable with truth and being corrected, it ain't gonna be for you. And that would be a shame, really, because what it did for me as a person, it made me look at enemies totally different. Like, the reason why you need to love them, that's why. Because they bring you an opportunity to work on yourself and to change yourself. Instead of making it about being a victim, instead of me making it being about being a victim to her every time she lashed out in front of everybody and being embarrassed, I literally was just analyzing, like, what is this? Because I know it's something coming for me, and it's something big, and I don't know what it is. Come to find out, God was using me to fight that spirit of suicide. Like, and I was doing it from a distance. It's not like I knew what was going on. I just knew something was off. And I'm grateful for that. Really am. And so, just because you feel it, and this is my second point, sorry. Just because you feel strongly doesn't mean it's accurate, right? Sometimes you feel is, sometimes what you feel is rooted in past wounds, not present reality. It's not present reality. Sorry, I'm just reading notes, because if I don't, I tend to bunny trail. So, but one thing I used to, like, me and my ex, like, he's probably the closest I ever got, like, totally opening up. He was a great guy. He's an older guy. He was a really nice guy. Very gentle, very patient with my opening up, because most of my trauma was with men growing up. So, and then at this point, the only person I actually trusted was my dad, and he passed away. So that has been like really, that was rough. And it kind of made me put up my walls again with men. And so when I met him, it was different. He was very gentle, patient with me, like running away and coming back, running away, coming back. I had avoidant issues. And so it made me open up to him differently. Now, there was times where I thought I was being open with him, but he was immediately able to like sense fear. And then I learned to pause, and I'd be like, And I learned how prophetic he is, even if he doesn't realize it. Like, I learned how prophetic he was. And then I would pause and be like, whoa, dude, that was fear. And then I mistake that for like intense connection. And that was like, it was totally eye-opening. I know that's a short example, but that was just one of those moments where it's like you think you're being really close to the person, and that person, hey, that feels like you're like in fear. Like, I can feel that. And he's like, and I'm like, whoa, dude, that was fear. And that was something that I'd been partnering with and not realizing how much fear was in me coming to connect with someone, which was pretty dope. But again, it's like, I feel like one of the things God has been highlighting to me today is that when God brings someone into your life, a lot of times they will trigger you. And if you're not healed or discerning enough, you're going to think that something's wrong with the person and push them away. But in all reality, God's using them to heal you, to help you see. And a lot of times it requires you loving the person to realize it's even there. All right, so point 3, you can't ask God to show you truth and then ignore what he reveals, right? So one example I had someone come to me. I interpret dreams, and I had gotten, I don't want to say I got a little reputation on it, but I like to teach people how to interpret while I'm interpreting for them. So you don't have to keep coming back to me, but you can, on some level, figure it out for yourself. So this girl had come up to me, and she had shared with me that she had a dream. Just to sum it up, she had like a dream about marrying someone. She was about to get married to somebody, and then, no, she had married the person at the time. Anyways, she was getting married to him or something like that. And then, but she had this dream about seeing her exes, like begging for food and stuff like that. And then, but she had to hurry up, like, and feed them before, but she had to hurry up and deal with it before her um, husband-to-be came. And she was asking me what it meant. And then I was telling her, like, this is going to be like this dream is about you. It's not about them. And she was like, you sure? Because she kept making it seem as if it was about her husband and God was warning her about her husband. I was like, no, because she did mention that she prayed for God to heal their relationship. And I was like, well, you're not going to like it, but you have a pattern with men that it's revealing, that you starve them of what they experience as love. And you need to work and heal that, which is God answering your prayer before they show up, before your next one comes, before you marry again. You have to heal that area in order to see something different out of it. And then she was like, no, and then was in complete denial. And I was like, yo, like, you have to understand, when you pray these tough prayers, God is going to deal with you first, because you contribute to every conflict in your life. You contribute to it. You're not going to just have a pattern with men and then find the next guy to blame it on. It's like you have to acknowledge that you bring a level of pattern to the relationship too. She wasn't trying to hear it. And then she stopped talking to me after that. But then I'm just like, and then now she's starting to see how it played out. I wasn't reading the future. I was just discerning your dream. That's it. Like, it's nothing difficult. But I learned in the past to stop fighting for people on their behalf. Like, just let them ruin their own situation or whatever they prayed for. I just let them be. Let them ruin their own situation. I don't care anymore. I'm not going to fight harder for people than they fight for themselves. If you're not ready to be honest, then that's not a situation I want to be part of praying for. I'm not warring for you. I'm not doing none of that, because you have to be sober-minded when it comes to love. You can't be so drunk in love that you're willing to ignore every single truth there is. So I know today's a little longer than normal, but I mean, I wanted to really give you some good examples, and not just because discernment's a very important. That's one of the first gifts God ever gave me. Discernment has saved my life so many times. Discernment has saved me from horrible friendships. Discernment has helped me leave environments that I needed to leave before being heavily hurt or rejected. And discernment protected me in my midst of depression sometimes, and it's helped me heal. And that is a gift that I recommend everybody pray God for, because it's a gift that requires a lot of internal looking. Like, every single time I even discerned someone else and they were coming at me, I also had to look at myself, because there's a part of me, like, a lot of times what God heals in you automatically delivers the person that's coming at you. And that is the element of truth that most people aren't willing to look at. But that's how important discernment is. So I encourage you, dig in, be willing to see the truth. Develop this relationship with the truth, no matter how intense or harsh it feels, because it will expedite your healing process, which is what I want for all of you guys. So, to conclude, discernment isn't meant to shame you. It's meant to free you. Freedom could be uncomfortable in the beginning. God isn't exposing you to break you. He's refining you so you can heal, grow, and move differently. So don't be afraid of what's revealed. That's where your transformation begins. Transformation's not comfortable, but God wants it for you. So I pray that you want it for you. See you. I'm posting again on Wednesday, so check me out then. Like and subscribe. Follow for healing.